Howdy folks, this is BelGeode. Yeah, I know, long time no see. This is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, Sim Update 1, and this is a test. Quite possibly my final test for quite some time, because let's face it, you haven't seen any videos for a while, and it's probably going to be longer still before you see any more videos. So I can't promise that I'll be able to get any chill videos up anytime in the near future, despite the fact that Sim Update 2 is currently in beta testing. I am not a part of the beta test team. However, I do hear often from my VR crew, and testing so far is going relatively well. There's some bugs and so on. It is currently Easter Sunday 2025, April the 20th. 420, go figure. And yeah, I figured now would be a great time for me to do a video, with the caveat that it may be potentially the last Microsoft Flight Simulator video. Let's face it folks, I don't have the energy to continue doing this. I've been pulled in a lot of different directions and I can't devote the time that this flight sim needs. And let's face it, there's so many other better options out there right now on YouTube that you could be throwing your energy and eyes behind. I could rattle off a list of names, but I'll only rattle off 3. The VR pilot, Jose, very good friend of mine. Steve, VR flight sim guy, also a very good friend of mine. And AvAngel. AvAngel has really made a name for herself, and I would like to count her as a friend as well. But yes, you have those 3 and many, many, many more that you can check out. So you don't have to wait for me to come up with a video. I'm old guard, I'm getting old, and yeah, just like frugal before, retirement's starting to look good. You know, it's starting to look good. But that's not what you came here for. Not for me to sing my swan song or any of that other happy horse crap. You came here because you wanted to see something new, unusual, and different. And boy, have I got it here for you today. So, hopefully all of the usual pop-ups that I have popped up, so you can see all the basic things that I usually say in every video. And I'm going to start putting up some pop-ups now about this little monstrosity right here. So this is the Cessna CH-1 Skyhook by Cowan Simulations. Joshua Cowan. Yes, the man, the myth, the legend. Cowansim. Knocking it out the park again. So, I got a confession for you all. This ugly monstrosity that you're looking at here, yeah, you can blame me for it. Why? Because I begged, cajoled, pleaded, threatened, everything. And I asked Cowan to make this bird. I said, if you make this bird, not only will it be the most unique and quirky bird out there, but it will sell, because I guarantee you there'll be no other birds out there like this. Was I right? Well, you be the judge. We'll see how well this video ages. But yeah, the only helicopter that Cessna, yes, the same Cessna, had ever built. So I got some quick facts on my cell phone, which of course I'll need to lift up the VR headset in order to read them to you. Honestly, I think this sort of thing is best done by AvAngel. She usually does her homework on that stuff, and me, well, let's just say I'm lacking in that department. It used to be that I always did do my homework and do my stats. You can see the stats at the bottom right now. But just some basic stuff. The helicopter itself was first flown in July of 1953. Yeah, they've been playing around with this design forever. It's crazy. And it was introduced in 1956. It was even adopted by the Army at one point in time as the Seneca. Of course, they had a different designation for it, but CH-1 is the popular designation for it. Production lasted till December of 1962, and then it was never heard from again. Cessna went back to making planes. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to call attention to this, because the weird, quirky helicopters that are throughout history don't often get a lot of love. And as ugly as this thing is, it was still pretty groundbreaking for its time. You can tell it's got that Cessna lineage. Look at the entire back end. That whole thing just looks like a Cessna. Actually, it looks more like what would happen if a Cessna and a Huey mated. But yeah, it looks every single bit the Cessna, even with the engine in the front, which of course is a Continental engine. I don't remember the exact designation, but I'll have that pop up in the bottom. But yeah, it's got a Continental engine, reciprocating engine, piston engine, and it's mated to this weird looking fuselage with the rotors. It's just wild. It's absolutely wild. And this is exactly the kind of thing that I want to see more of in this flight sim. Yeah, we just had the Navigraph survey, and of course the Navigraph survey tells us that the vast majority of the community is airliner specific. That's great. You all can have your tube liners and everything. I need to see more developers get daring, get more creative, do the things that are not normally seen. This is a prime example of that. I want to see more of this. I want to see more of the Sepacat Jaguar. I want to see more of like the Broncos and, you know, all of those weird, cool aircraft that we really don't get to see a lot of. So I'm really glad that Cowan took my bait and went for this helicopter, because I'm so glad that he was able to do it. Now, I know a lot of you all are probably out there thinking, well, how realistic can it be if it's not something that even flies anymore? Truth be told, a lot of it's going to be guesswork. But since they did put it through its paces, they did get it through wind tunnels and so on and so forth, there is data publicly available out there, which Cowan was able to get his hands on to try and make his best rendition of this bird. And what we're going to do today is see how much he was able to pull that off. So yeah, now full disclosure, this is my first time flying it, so this video could get a little bit strange with me trying to figure things out on the fly, as it were. And no doubt you will have noticed the scenery that we're in today. Where are we? Well, we're not in Papua New Guinea, that's for sure. We're in Norway. More precisely, we're in Kinsarvik. Now, I'm probably going to butcher all of these Norwegian words, so my apologies to the entire country of Norway for the shoddy pronunciation. But yes, we're in Clifford's Kinsarvik. Now, I did get both of the Clifford sceneries for Norway. However, the other scenery is a little too far away, kind of out of the range of this bird. Or let's say it would result in too long of a video for us to get there. So, on that note, we're just going to stay around the Kinsarvik region. We'll check out some of the helipads that Clifford has done. Clifford, as always, just never ceases to amaze me. He absolutely knocks it out of the park when it comes to the scenery. And even if we look over this side here, we can see some people just kind of milling about. And we'll just take a look at the scenery here while we're here, before we hop in the bird and get flying. But yeah, you can see it's all the little details that Clifford loves to think about when he puts this kind of stuff together. People on their break here, waiting for this BelGeode character to get out of their faces with his funky helicopter. We got the airlift here. And of course, at the bottom right, you'll see the ICAO code that Clifford has given this. I think it's the real ICAO code for this place, but I don't know much about Norway, so we're just exploring, as we typically do on this channel. It's all about the exploration. I don't necessarily want to, you know, like baffle you with a bunch of facts about the place. I want to experience it. And more importantly, I want to experience it in VR. Because even though, according to the Navigraph survey, VR users only amount to about 9% of the overall flight sim population, remember, those surveys are skewed because a lot of you all won't fill out the damn survey. It takes 20 minutes of your time. If you see me pop up or anybody else pop up saying, hey, Navigraph survey's ready, fill it out, especially if you're a VR user. But I'm not here to rail on you on that. Those of you who did represent us, at least we were able to show the community that VR is still going strong, despite the fact that Microsoft killed off one of our headsets. Which is ironic, because I'm still using the HP Reverb G2 to record this. Yeah, that's what I'm currently using in VR. It hasn't killed it yet. We did have a scare in Windows 10, but I refused to update to Windows 11, at least not without getting a new computer. And so far, Windows 10, I'm still able to use the Reverb G2, so I will continue to use it until it becomes in my budget for me to grab something like the Pimax Crystal Lite, which I'm thinking strongly about. It's either that or the Quest 3. I'd rather not go the Quest 3 route. I would rather have the Pimax Crystal Lite, but we'll see how that'll all work out. But that's another reason why the videos are going to be few and far between. I don't know how long this VR headset is going to last. And it is possible that I may lose this thing, which is really going to kill me, because remember, I play Skyrim VR, and I do that just about every day. You probably won't see it on the channel, and if you do, it'll probably be not safe for work. We'll just leave it at that. Alright, but I've chatted enough about this thing, and bearing in mind it is available in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. The only thing I don't know, however, is whether or not all of the features will work, like being able to get into the helicopter. So I may need to use some of my keyboard shortcuts. Let me see, which keyboard shortcut do I have? Ah, here we go. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So, we're inside, as you can no doubt see. And let me get my mouse here so we can open the door. There we go. Pretty stock standard stuff. Now, I don't know if Cowan has included a checklist for this puppy. It just says thank you. You're welcome, Cowan. Thank you for humoring me on this one. I really appreciate it. Okay. Now, I do have the checklist on the other window, but that's not going to help us here because of the fact that I currently have that window covered by the full screen that you're seeing for the VR. So this is going to get real interesting, me trying to start this sucker here. All right. I suppose I could probably figure out if I know where all the knobs are. So that's our cabin lighting there. Carburetor air, mixture, cabin air, cabin heat. Should check my controls too. Yeah, my controls are currently non-responsive. So it needs to be assigned, which is just awesome. So that is something that we're going to need to do. We're going to need to assign our controls to this thing, so that way we can figure out how to get her flying. So, rather than subject you to that, I'm going to do one of those rare edits in this video and go ahead and just assign it to basic helicopter controls, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and get her started. Okay, and we are back, and that didn't take too long at all. All I had to do was assign my controls to basic helicopter controls. So you can see I've got the anti-torque pedals working. I've got the cyclic working. Forward and back, left and right. Collective is not working, but I've noticed with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, collective doesn't seem to come alive until the engine is actually alive. So we're going to hope that is the case today. Like I said, it could all go pear-shaped at any point in time, so don't be too surprised if this becomes a little interesting. Of course, the typical bugs are still there. For example, the VR toolbar won't pop up. Supposedly that'll be fixed in Sim Update 2. I'm hearing good things about that. We're still in Sim Update 1, mind you. We do, however, have the EFB, but the catch with the EFB is that you can't really control it while in VR. So, with that having been said, you can kind of sort of see where we are, where we're going, so on and so forth. And there's a plane flying overhead somewhere south of us. But yeah, we can't zoom out the map. Now, I actually do have the checklist available. And you know what? Let me just drag it over to the second monitor so that you can see it. This is the checklist that comes with the Skyhook. Okay, so now you can see the checklist on your screen on the left. So it seems like it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, as you would expect from a Cessna, which of course comes with a caveat that this is a helicopter, so there's going to be slightly different sequence that we have to work through. But of course, battery switch on, generator switch off, governor switch off, idle switch the clutch off, throttle off, twist grip roll to minimum, that is, fuel switch on, check fuel, or fuel gauge switch I should say, fuel valve on, fuel pump switch on, ignition key set to both, primer breaker on, mixture full rich, push, it should already be in the full rich position if I'm not too mistaken. Yeah, it looks like it might be. And what else do we have? Ignition switch key, and then start, hold the button on the collective, generator switch on, fuel pump switch off, temp gauges on, trim mechanism on, landing light switch on, panel lights on, position lights on, rotating beacon on, radio switch on, and I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way in hell I'm going to remember all of that. So, first things first, let's get this out of your way. No, I don't want to create a new PDF. I want to move this. Okay, so we know for a fact that battery switch has to be on, and generator, governor off, idle switch off, throttle is already off, fuel gauge on, fuel valve and fuel pump, and then ignition switch, and then a primer breaker. Okay, so we're going to try all of that. We're going to see if that works, or if I'm just going to make a hack job of this. I'm going to go with hack job. All right, battery is on. This is our alternator. We'll leave that off for now. Okay, so now that the battery is on, we got the fuel pump, we got the primer, fuel gauge, we want you on. And what are you? Primer balancer. Okay, didn't say anything about that, I don't think. This we're going to go ahead and close. Oh, this is our clutch idle. No, we want that open. We want that open. Can I actually get to the clutch switch? Or is that one of those deals where we don't worry about it right now? All right. Cabin air, cabin heat, mixture. We'll make sure that our mixture is, in fact, where it should be. Pushed in. Yep. Mixture is looking good. All right. Where's our fuel gauge? There's our fuel gauge. It says we have no fuel. Why do we have no fuel? Cowan, did you not fill up this bird? Seriously, what's going on here? Fuel pump. Yeah, we'll go ahead and turn you on. And primer. Well, we got to hold the primer for a few seconds, I guess. I know I'm doing all of this out of order. Like I said, there's no way in hell I'm going to remember any of this. Now, I am typically in the habit of turning on my position lights and rotating beacon lights just so people know, hey, this guy's actually going to start this thing. Ha 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 ha. Now taking bets to see who is going to die first. All right. I suppose we should probably get the ignition on too, huh? Oh, fancy that. Fancy that. It came on. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the EFB here. Listen to that Cessna engine purr. You hear that, right? A Cessna engine powering these damn things. Oh, it's going to be crazy. Speaking of which, where's my rotor brake? Is there a rotor brake in this thing, Cowan? I don't see a rotor brake in here. Although, knowing me, if there is a rotor brake, chances are I've probably got it switched on, as is typically the case for me. Okay. So throttle works. I can hear everything powering up, so we're going to power the throttle back down. Yeah. Now, if I remember my Schweitzer S300 correctly, when you engage the clutch, you're probably going to want to give it just a tiny bit more throttle. I'm hoping that everything is similar in this particular case. We have no guarantees, though, so we'll see. We'll see. Oh, this changes out our avionics. Oh, that's interesting. All right. I'm going to want some panel brightness going on here too, so we'll go ahead and just turn that all the way up. Okay, so engine's looking good. So we're at 1500 RPM. Is that a good RPM to engage the clutch? I don't know, but guess what? We're about to find out. I'm not seeing anything yet. Not seeing any activity yet. That could be good, that could be bad. Or did I just engage it without flipping the switch? Is it one of those things where the switch needs to be flipped first? I can't tell. Why? Because I can't reach the actual switch. Let's give her a little more throttle, see what happens. Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right, let's give it some more clutch. Nope, we got nothing. I think it's the rotor brake. I think my rotor brake is on. Now the question is, where the hell is the rotor brake? Oh look, there's a checklist. Who knew? Okay, well, we'll keep that handy as we hunt for the rotor brake. I'm telling you, it's got to be the rotor brake because it's me. It's always the rotor brake. I am notorious for forgetting about the rotor brake. But like I said, I have no idea where it is in this damn thing. So yeah, it is highly probable that there might not actually be a rotor brake, and I'm looking around for nothing. But either way, I don't like the fact that I don't have any, you know. Okay, well, that works. There we go. I have no idea what I did, folks. It's your typical BelGeode video. No clue what the hell I did. I'm gonna drink some water while this warms up. So how about them apples, huh? Let's hear it for stumbling around and figuring it out. I've been doing that on this channel for 11 years now. 11 years, stumbling around and figuring it out. And a lot of you have been with me for that long. So you know what? I'm going to say a huge shout out and thank you to all of my diehards that have been here through all the various games and flight sims that I have shown on this channel. You folks are the real ones. Thank you. Thank you. All right, but with that having been done, let's go ahead and flip the alternator on. Let's get our landing lights on. Do we even need the panel lights? I guess we do, right? Since I put the thing up. Cabin lights. We'll turn this on. Why not? Okay, there we go. That's all our gauges, I think. Might as well just flip all the switches, huh? Radio. There we go. That could come in handy, right? Okay. And let's make sure that we have our throttle up to full. Okay, we don't want it to be exactly full, but we want it to be high enough for the governor to kick in. So, governor switch. Wow, look at that governor work. Did it really do this, Cowan? I'm curious. Did it really do this? We're just going to go with yes. That's totally what it did. Alright, so, yeah, we got this thing, which is not going to help us much because we cannot zoom in or out on it. And, of course, for some strange reason, I cannot get the actual regular flight map up, so I can't show that to you. Because you see what happens if I try to do this. Yeah. None of that really helps us at all. So yeah, after all these months later, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 still ain't quite ready for prime time. But you know what? Where it is right now, it's usable, and I still say that in VR, my experience with this flight sim is a hell of a lot better than it was with 2020. So there is that. Okay, so everything's on, we're good to go, and before I take off, of course I'm going to go outside to just kind of walk around and make sure that everything's kosher, and then we'll go flying and see if we can find some of Clifford's helipads here. Now there are supposed to be some pilot models and co-pilot and passenger models in there. They are modeled, but for whatever reason, whenever you set it and then hop into the sim, it removes them. That is a Microsoft Flight Sim issue. That is not a Cowan Sim issue. But I can confirm that the pilot model is, in fact, Josh Cowan. Okay. So, let's see how this baby wants to fly, shall we? Alright. Already she's light on the skids, as I would expect a Cessna to be. And I'm hoping I've got trim in this thing, too. Because that would suck if I take off and there's no dang force trim. Alright, so, as is typical for a helicopter, when you start raising your collective, provided it does in fact raise, yes it is, you're going to want to watch the helicopter to see which way she wants to go and add the appropriate pedal, unless of course you're very familiar with the helicopter, in which case you can anticipate it. And as you can see, she definitely wants to swing to the right. She's probably going to be squirrely, but then I'm not surprised. Do not ask me if this flight model is accurate, because none of these suckers are flying in real life now. So I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but I trust Cowan to do his homework and figure out what needs to be done in order to make this helicopter as realistic as it possibly could be. That's part of the reason why I suggested he made this sucker in the first place. I wanted to see what he could do. It was really more a test of his skill to see how well he could pull off something that not only no longer exists in real life, but it's just such a strange animal that you kind of wonder how they even pulled it off in the first place in real life. So yeah, for that I'm eternally grateful. Now we are getting a little bit of stutters here and there, and I'm going to chalk that up to the recording process and not actually the flight sim, but we'll see. A couple of flashing textures here and there, but as usual, this is the typical work that we expect from Clifford, and it is absolutely jaw-dropping. Look at that. I'm assuming that's Norwegian Cruise Lines. Would that be a correct assumption? Norwegian Cruise Lines? Look, he's even got birds there too. That's so cool. And there's a helipad out here. Should we land on the ship? Normally I would, but no, we've got a few other helipads that we want to check out, so what I will do, however, is I will go to the outside view. Yeah, Yeah, about that outside view thing. This is what happens when I try to get a cinematic moment here. So typically what I try to do when I do these things is I try to trim us up properly, or if I've got autopilot, I will use autopilot. Clearly there is no autopilot in this thing right now, so there is that. Alright, but there we go. Should be good to go, right? Oh, come on. It doesn't want to go outside. There we go. All of that for a title shot. Yeah, it's me. It's to be expected. Hey, look, there's one of the famous stave churches that we have. I'm sure that place is crowded, being as it's Easter Sunday as I record this. So yeah, as I stated, it is Clifford, and Clifford does an amazing job on all of his scenery. So I'm really not surprised to see that this scenery is no different. I really wish we could check out the other scenery as well, but I'm not going to do a part 2 video for this to check that out. Just know that Clifford, you are near and dear to my heart, and I'm sure the hearts of all helicopter flyers in this flight sim and in the 2020 variety of this flight sim. So there is our airport, or heliport, that we just took off from. See, they're covered in snow. And I want to say we are heading in the correct direction for our next stop. We could try to pull up this thing again, the EFB, but just bear in mind it's not really going to show us much. But suffice to say, there are going to be some waterfalls and other natural features that we're going to be looking for. See, there's some kind of building down there, and look at that. Look at the water flowing over the frozen, I guess, ice. That is what they call that thing, right? Ice. I know, I'm just being silly. But yeah, look at that. Look at that. Wow. It is full-on glacier mode over here. I gotta say, Cowan, yeah, this thing is a little squirrely, but you know what? I can come to terms with her very easily. To me, it feels convincing. It feels like something Cessna would make, you know? It just has that vibe to it that, you know, has that Cessna stability, and yet the same quirkiness of a helicopter that we've come to expect from helicopters, especially smaller helicopters like this. It's also worth noting that this particular helicopter in real life, in its short lifespan between 1954 and 1962, it actually did set some records, including the highest altitude for a piston helicopter at 29,000 feet. Originally, there was a record set of 14,000 feet. Now think about that for a second. Piston engines don't like going over 10,000 feet in general, let alone carrying this thing to 14,000 feet. You realize that's like the altitude of like Lukla and places like that? That's insane to think about, that they were actually able to pull something like that off in this bird. And I'm sure it was probably the Army that did that. I'll have to check my research notes again. But I wouldn't be too surprised if it was like the Army or something that was able to pull that sort of thing off. Because that sounds like something that they would do, is experiment with a helicopter such as this in high altitude, just to see if it can do what they want it to do. Now, what did the Army use this helicopter for? I'm assuming scouting. I don't know of any combat deployments. In 1962, when the production ended, would have been before Vietnam really kicked off. I mean, of course, the French were in French Indochina, aka Vietnam, around that time. But it was actually before the full-on war had gone into effect. So I don't think this thing would have seen much combat. Granted, Korea was going on when it first came about, but again, it's not the kind of thing that I can really see this thing participating in. So yeah, all the same though, it is a really cool bird. I think I'm going to hang off to the left here, and we're just going to kind of follow these fjords. I'm assuming these are fjords. We'll look for some of Clifford's trademark landscape objects and everything. Wow, look at that. I mean, you can say what you want about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, but yeah, it does represent a good leap forward. Have they messed up in a lot of cases? Yes. And I think that Asobo is humble enough to realize where they have messed up, and they're obviously taking the steps to fix it. I'm not going to sit here and say I told you so, but yeah, when the sim came out and there was no prior beta testing, that really tells you everything that you need to know about this sim right here. Now, I'm also not going to lie to you folks, I have not opened up this sim for months. And when I say open it up, I mean also flying. Yes, I have kept it up to date because the times that I neglected to update Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, it's usually come back to bite me in the butt because of the fact that now I have to reinstall the whole thing because it doesn't even recognize that the sim is actually installed on my PC, which is wild to me. In fact, it's the one thing that prevents me from using Blackbird Sim's awesome T6 Texan 2, because Blackbird's installer still won't recognize that I have Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 installed, let alone 24. So it's a bit of a problematic situation there, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't been able to show off that aircraft, which I was really looking forward to. Longtime viewers of this channel know that that aircraft and I have some history as far as videos being made. Alright, I think, is that us? I think I can see us right there. I'm assuming that's us, so we're just going to keep heading in this direction here. Actually, we're going to swing out a little to the right, and we'll know if the nose changes direction, if we're actually going where we need to. I'm assuming that might be us. It might be. It might not be. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just a jet overhead. I don't even know. But either way, we're still going to head in this direction. We are currently flying almost due south, about a heading of 190 degrees right now. And we'll go to the outside view just for a little bit here, just to see what we can see. You know what's really cool is I actually have an Xbox controller, which is what I use for those outside views there. And my controller rumbles as I rotate around the helicopter. I've never experienced that before in a flight sim. That is so cool to me that it actually does that. Alright, I'm not seeing where we're supposed to be going, which is Trolltung or Trolltunga. Like I said, I'm just butchering these words. I'm so sorry, people of Norway. I'm so sorry. But we do know that there should be a fjord off to this side, so you know what? I'm going to head over there. Give it a little bit more collective here. Cowan did warn me this thing can overspeed, so I'm going to try and keep the shenanigans to a minimum here. We're only at an altitude of about 4,600 feet, so we're not that high up. But let's see, we are heading west here. Should we be heading west or should we be heading east? I think we should be heading west. Let me pop the thing up again. Yeah, west. Because we were heading south. So yeah, aside from the usual hermit mode, what's been going on in the life of BelGeode? Well, I think it's probably safe to announce that I will not be attending FlightSimExpo. For those of you who are looking forward to meeting up at FlightSimExpo, hate to disappoint you, but none of the 3 grumpy simmers are going to be showing up this year. And it really, really sucks because Rhode Island is relatively a hop, skip, and jump away when compared to someplace like Vegas. It's just not in the cards right now for any of us, for various reasons. In my case, primarily the fact that I am currently still unemployed and I just simply don't have it in the budget to be able to afford a trip out to Rhode Island. So unfortunately, I will need to give it a miss, but I do still encourage you to attend FlightSimExpo 2025. And of course, right now I'll have the little link pop up at the bottom there, so check in the video description. If you have not yet registered for the event, by all means go ahead and do so and tell them BelGeode sent you, and of course when you get there, tell them BelGeode said hi. And sorry that I missed it this year. But yeah, that was to me a big disappointment not being able to go. But I mean, with that having been said, there's always next year, right? And let's face it, an event like that will only get bigger. And I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to have gone to many of these FlightSimExpo events in the past. And it's great to see, you know, newer people getting involved, newer people basically putting their stamp on the entire event. So I wish them all the best, and I hope that this particular year is going to be a huge success for Flight Sim Association. And like I said, we'll probably see you next year. That's a shame, because I was kind of sort of looking forward to talking to companies like Pimax and whatnot, since I still haven't had the opportunity to test out the Crystal Light. But things happen, right? But yeah, other than that, basically just living the hermit life as per usual. Like I said, I've been spending a lot of time in Skyrim VR pretty much every day. I've also been playing some of the Assassin's Creed titles, most notably Assassin's Creed Origins, which is the one that took place in Egypt. I also got Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which was the Greek one, which I plan on playing after that. And I might even pick up the new one, the Japan one, Shadows, because I watched a playthrough on that, and that actually was really cool to see. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of that, and then of course the creation kit for Skyrim. I've been basically working on modifying a mod for a new land called Maika, M-A'-I-K-A. I don't know if I want to show it off on the channel because I have no plans on making it available for people to download. It's just basically an experiment, a test for me to learn how to use the creation kit and so on. So it's a really cool experiment as far as I'm concerned, and I'm enjoying what I'm experiencing with it. But other than that, yeah, I don't see myself really making it available to the public. And aside from which, I would need to get permissions from all the mod authors whose assets I have used in the construction of the island itself, and it's a lot of assets. It's a pretty sizable island, so, but I'm having a lot of fun doing that. It's helping to keep me sane, as it were, in these doldrum times that I find myself in right now. Other than that, just you know, keeping in touch with family, with my granddaughters. As of November of last year, I now have 2 granddaughters, so keeping in touch with them and with their mother and my son-in-law, you know, trying to keep all of that real, as it were. So yeah, that's been a cool part of my life. Other than that, not much else going on, not much else to report, just still hanging in there and being a lifeline for those of you out there who need it. And I have definitely been getting a lot of notifications from people who sometimes, you know, just need help. You know, remember, your mental health is worth it. So if you ever need to reach out, you know, my inbox is always open. Feel free to let me know how I can help, even if it's just a listening ear or, you know, anything else. I'll be more than happy to help you out. Alright, so I'm still looking around for more Clifford airports, and it's really unfortunate that we cannot interact really with this thing, because that just throws my entire plan in the water here. I have no idea what lake we're on top of, no idea which way we need to go in order to get to where I would like us to be. And there's so many things that I wanted to show you, but I don't even think I'm going to be able to show you. The only thing I really say is go ahead and download or purchase and download the I wanted to say mod. I'm so used to Skyrim modding. The add-on to scenery for yourself and check it out. I don't think you will be disappointed at all. But I do kind of want to check out this little town on this side here, and then we might go further up the fjord here. What direction are we heading right now? We are currently heading west. Now we're heading south. But yeah, I want to see if I can set her down somewhere. Maybe it might not be an actual Clifford location, but I want to see what we got here. Oh, that's so cool. Look at all these buildings too. See, I don't know if this is part of like the world updates that we had for Norway and the rest of Scandinavia, or if this is actually part of Clifford's. I'm leaning more towards the world updates, I'm thinking, because I don't see any of the typical Clifford trademarks in here. So, but with that having been said, we're looking pretty good. Let me get rid of the force trim here. Oh wait, that's not my force trim. Why is that popping up? Interesting. I didn't know I had that set to that. But yeah, there's another stave church, so happy Easter to all of you who celebrate it. I do not, but that doesn't stop me from wishing you all well. Pretty cool stuff, man. Pretty cool stuff. Alright. Yeah, I don't know which direction we're going to need to head to find all of the other stuff. I'm assuming west, so that's kind of where we're going right now. Kinda, not really. We're heading more east right now. But maybe we should follow the fjord and see what comes up. So yeah, we're going to try that. As we're at 1,700 feet right now. At this point, it's going to be if we find any of the Clifford airports. Because I can't give you any guarantees on that one. But we'll go back to the outside view really quick, and we'll just continue forward. It is most certainly a beautiful country. And again, that's one of the things that I really enjoy about this flight sim and its predecessor, 2020, is the fact that we get to explore parts of the world that we may never even know about in real life. And that is so awesome. That's one of the things that I think makes the whole flight sim genre worth it. If you're into exploration, if you're into adventure, you don't even have to be into flying per se, but just the wanderlust that you have. Sims like this really do get to showcase it. And not to diminish anything going on in like X-Plane or DCS, because obviously both of those sims as well are a feast for the eyes and definitely feed into that whole exploration thing. But as we know, DCS, the primary goal with DCS is, of course, combat. That's the main thing with DCS. And then, of course, with X-Plane, even though it is definitely a more civilian-type sim, X-Plane has made leaps and bounds with its atmospherics, its clouds, and so on, but it still has a little ways to go when it comes to the actual ground textures. And the ground does matter. Make no bones about it. The ground does matter. That's part and parcel of the whole thing. I want to see what we got on this side here. Speaking of wanderlust, we're just going to check out areas, because we're ultimately seeing if we can find another Clifford Airport. And at this point, everything's just been thrown out the window because I have no idea where we are. Oh, look, there's us. Okay. And we're over the lake, pointing in the correct direction to get to one of the places that we were supposed to go in the first place. Huh. So it looks like Trolltunga might be our final destination. I have no idea how that's going to work, because I have no idea which of the heliports that is or what it's actually going to do for us as far as the ability to bring this bird in. But we're about to find out together. Alright, so clearly it is in the hills, and I lost a lot of altitude coming down here to go play around in this fjord, so we're going to see if we can navigate this. We're going to do it smart. So we're going to go around if we need to. We'll loop back in the other direction. But yeah, we're going to try and see if we can make it to Trolltunga. And at that point in time, I guess we will simply call the video, because obviously we've spent a lot of time in this bird, mainly trying to start it up. And I didn't intend to monopolize your entire day. Like I said, there's plenty of other channels out there if you really want to get in-depth reviews. My main thing has always been and will always be, how does it work in VR? Does it feel right? Does it look right? Does it sound right? Does it check all those boxes when it comes to immersive VR experience? Yes, it does. I'm not here to sell you a headset. I'm not here to, teach you a lot of things about this helicopter. I'm here to tell you, is it worth it? Hell yeah, it's worth it. Pick it up. It's ugly as sin, but if it were a pretty boy, I would not have even recommended that Cowan even develop it. I'm so glad that he developed this thing, because of the fact that it's not something you see every day. It is hideous, but in its own way, it's also extremely beautiful. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you, Cowan. I love you, man. You're just awesome. All right, let's see if we can go over the mountain, and we'll do that from the outside view. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so far so good. Does not look like the engine's about to blow up. We're just about getting into 5,000 feet. And we're currently heading southwest. Pull this thing back up. There we go. Okay, so we're at least heading in the right direction. We need to pass that lake off to our left. And that tinier lake off to our right, and we'll just keep heading this way until we see Trolltunga, or however it's pronounced. Again, apologies to the people of Norway. I'm so sorry I'm butchering your language here. It's me. Wouldn't be a BelGeode episode if I didn't make a hack job of everything, right? Alright, but as we close in, what more can I really say? Yeah, life has been interesting, and that interesting can be good and bad at the same exact time. There's a lot of stuff going on, both in the world, in the country, and in my personal life. So where does that leave me as far as this channel goes? I would love to be able to put up videos more often, but simply put, folks, I don't have the time or the energy anymore. Now, that is not to say you will never, ever, ever see a video from me ever again. No, you certainly will. But I'm just saying, as of right now, they're definitely going to be few and far between. And I know there are quite a few of you who've been asking me when the next chill video is coming. Believe me, I see you. Some of you are in my inbox too. So yeah, there's no escaping you. I know you're there. But with that having been said, yeah, sometimes life does get a little bit tricky, and finding the time to get all of this done with all the other various responsibilities that I have going on, it's interesting. That's really the only word I could use to describe it. And you know, if I say interesting, then there's usually a secondary meaning in there somewhere. But suffice to say, I have not forgotten. I have not forgotten Flight Sim. I have not forgotten the channel. I have not forgotten all of you who've been patiently waiting, and I have not forgotten what got me here in the first place. And I am grateful to you all for sticking around, for checking it out, for all your likes and comments and well wishes whenever appropriate and so on. I do appreciate all of that. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for the support that you've given me over the years. Like I said, I don't want to say this is a swan song. I'm just going to say this is more than likely an adieu for right now. Provided, of course, we could find where it is we're supposed to land. We know it's around here somewhere, but not exactly where. Wait, what is that? Is that? Oh, don't tell me it's one of those little teeny tiny trailer things that we got to land on. I wouldn't be surprised. Clifford, what are you doing to me here? Clifford's probably snickering to himself while he's watching this, like, ha ha ha, that sucker, he has no idea what I've got in store for him to land on. No clue. He's absolutely clueless as to what he's getting himself into. And you know what? You'd be right. You'd be 100% right. But we know we're in the right neighborhood. So according to this thing, it says it is off to our left. So what if I swing out this way? And then just like look around for something to land on. I mean, there's a building over there. Could that be it? Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, it's around here somewhere. I probably should have taken a look at the picture since I do have a photographic memory. And that might have helped me as far as identifying where exactly it is I'm supposed to come in at. But of course, everything's covered in snow. So I have no clue. Absolutely none. We know it's in this neighborhood though, so we're going to keep looking. According to that, I've passed it up, so it's back this way. And I don't want to get too high up, but I do want to give it a little bit of left pedal here, just kind of swing me around before I hit this cliff face. And we'll swing back this way and see if we can find it. If you spot it before I do, be sure to yell at your monitor or your phone and let me know. Can't guarantee I'll actually hear you, but hey, you know, it's a thought that counts, right? As far as what am I looking forward to? Well, obviously I'm looking forward to Sim Update 2 and seeing how that benefits the VR community, because let's face it, they've been waiting for a lot of these fixes that have been plaguing us all. And I know that a lot of people have been complaining about the performance of VR. I personally haven't had any issues. As you've seen in this video, there's only been like a few stutters here and there. But like I said, most of that can be chalked up to the AMD software that I'm using to record this stuff, because after all, the way that I record is a bit different from how other people do their VR recordings. So I wouldn't be too surprised if the way I do things might not be ideal for this setup. Oh, what was that? Why did we just slip and slide there? I'm looking, but I'm not seeing Clifford. What's going on here, buddy? Where's my helipad? Don't let me have to break out Sergio now. Does it have helipads? Apparently it does, somewhere around here. We just have no idea where. Presumably to the right. So I'm going to point the nose to exactly where it says it should be, which is right here, directly in front of us. And we're going to hop down this hill and see if we can find it. Bearing in mind we may need to swing back the other way too. Don't tell me it's that building. It couldn't be that building. There's no way it's that building. I'm expecting like a little box or something, because see, there's a power line there. Oh wait, is this the power station? Yeah, I thought I read somewhere there's a power station as part of this whole scenery project here. So you know what? Let's bring ourselves down a bit. So I'm going to drop the collective. We're not quite going to get into an auto rotation, but we're going to try and at least lose a lot of altitude quickly. Put the collective back in, give it a little bit of right pedal, swing the Cessna around, do-si-do. And worst case scenario, you know what? I'll just park on top of the building, because I got to end this video at some point, right? Yeah, it's got to be around here somewhere, I'm assuming. So let's bring her in and see what we got. That almost looks like it could be a helipad there, but it is not. It is most definitely a body of water. And that almost looks like it's a helipad there. Could that be it? It looks like it's made of wood. How much you want to bet this is it? Oh boy. If this is it, yeah, I'm gonna laugh my butt off. Holy crap, this is it. Alright folks, you said you wanted to be here when the end happened. This could very well be the end of BelGeode right here, trying to land on this sucker. She is a squirrely bird, as I would expect a Cessna helicopter to be. But we're going to try and pull it off. We're going for the win, baby. We're going for the win. Oh, and there we go. There's a sim stutter that I was afraid of. And pull her in. Holy crap, we made it. Barely. Barely. By the skin of our teeth. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. We made it. Yay, us. Alright. So yeah, I'm going to open the door. And we're going to call it done. So thank you, as always, for watching. This has been BelGeode. This has been Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. The lovely yet ugly helicopter that we have been showcasing is the only helicopter that Cessna has ever made, the CH-1 Skyhook. as brought to us by the incomparable Joshua Cowan of Cowan Simulations. This was a labor of love which I double dog dared him to do, and I'm so glad he's done it. Cowan, you make me so proud, man, and I will sell the hell out of this thing for you. The scenery we've been showing off is by Clifford. This is the Kinsarvik, Norway scenery. There is another Norway scenery. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce it. Pick both of them up. They might be a little out of range for this helicopter to fly to, but there are many other aircraft that you can use, many other helicopters that will allow you to get from one scenery to the other. Be sure to check them both out. They are amazing. And as you can see, it'll definitely support the weight of a Cessna Skyhook. If you're planning on going to FlightSimExpo, by all means, use the link in the video description below. Tell them BelGeode sent you, and give everyone my well wishes once you get to Providence, Rhode Island. I'm really sorry that I will not be able to be there this year, but I will be there in spirit, and I will be watching from the internet. So I'm hoping to at least see what comes out of it, and perhaps I'll see you all next year. Other than that, the usual caveats apply, you know, like, subscribe, all of that usual crap. When next are you going to see another Flight Sim video? Honestly, I don't know. But I refuse to tell you goodbye for good. But for now, I will simply say, ciao.